Kindness is a matter of looking for the goodness in one another, approaching one another with a posture of forgiveness, especially to those who have offended us. I'm guilty myself of being defensive instead of setting aside my pride. Instead of reconciling and being tender towards others, I have a tendency of throwing my defenses up. Ephesians 4:32 tells us to be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving one another as God in Christ forgave us. Too often we find ourselves protesting our treatment, as sometimes we feel we don't deserve unjust treatment. So why would we still show this kindness to those that mistreat us? I would say Christ repaid his crucifixion with forgiving kindness. So who are we to say we can't be kind? If we wanted to prevent kindness from taking root in our lives, we could do so by being bitter, angry, slanderous, and malicious. This is what happens when our pride is placed above all else in our lives. When we feel as though we've been wronged or treated unjustly, these things can take root in our hearts. And it's difficult to be both bitter and kind. And it's difficult to be both angry and kind, and slanderous and kind, and malicious and kind. This is why Ephesians 4:31 tells us to let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and slander be put away from you, along with all malice. And there should be no limits to the kindness that we show. Luke 6:35 through 36 says, "But love your enemies and do good and lend, expecting nothing in return, and your reward will be great, and you will be the sons of the Most High, for he is kind to the ungrateful and the evil. Be merciful even as your Father is merciful." There are no limits to which our kindness should apply. Kindness is not an admission of fault or guilt or a sign of vulnerability, but a display of good faith and conviction to show love instead of our hurt. Our Father in heaven continuously shows us his mercy and his kindness in spite of our undeserving it. We are so blessed by our God in spite of our humanity. Therefore, we should be even more willing to show kindness to those that treat us unkindly. For those that are in Christ, those that follow Christ, we are called to kindness. Colossians 3:12 through 14 tells us, "Put on then, as God's chosen ones, holy and beloved, compassionate hearts, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience." We find kindness in the company of compassionate hearts and humility, meekness, and in patience. If we are looking to be more kind to one another, we should start there. Kindness seems like quite an effort. It takes a lot of effort to put forward your best foot when you're being treated unjustly. There's little payoff. So why show kindness, especially to those that don't show us kindness? It's easy enough to say that Jesus was kind, but why do I need to be like him? Why bother with kindness? You don't actually need to be kind, but you'll find that kindness provides nourishment to your heart, while cruelty does the opposite, as it's stated in Proverbs 11:17. Above all else, we are called to reach out with love to one another. I would argue that this is absolutely necessary, especially during these uncertain times we're facing, as our country seems to be becoming more and more divided. But love is the most important resource we have at our disposal. We may not all agree on issues we witness in the world around us, but that should not stop us from being loving and compassionate to one another, while we are also being obedient to our convictions to uphold righteousness. After all, love is both patient and kind. Be blessed, beautiful people.